Welcome to your Daily Writing Habit, episode number 706. If you are writing a book or thinking about it, or maybe you've started writing your book, but you need some help getting it done, you are in the right place. Good morning. Happy Monday, everyone. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh. If you're looking for me online, look for Christine Inc., like that stuff we write with. Each day, I'm sharing with you the writing habits I've learned over my 19 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that three things in particular have a huge impact on your success as an author, and they have the ability to turn someone who barely sees themselves as a writer into a published book author. Those three things are writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. Here's today's quote. "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Abraham Lincoln. And that does directly relate to the show today. You know, I've talked about my book blueprint process for authors here on the show, probably more than a few times at this point. And in a nutshell, it's something I invented years ago to help first-time authors especially avoid the process of facing the blank white screen with nothing more than a table of contents, and then somehow trying to figure out how to write an entire freaking book. I realized early on in my ghostwriting career, which as of July is going to be going 20 years strong, so I'll be changing that header of the show where, the habits I've learned over my 20 years. So that's as of this July. But I realized early on that the better you understand your book, the deeper your understanding of it, your overall vision for it, the architecture of how you're going to get the reader from the beginning to the end, and what I consider to be the most important part, your writing plan for executing on all of that. The better you understand those things, the more successful you will be in actually writing and finishing writing your book. So that's the nuts and bolts of my book blueprint, but today I want to hit a different angle on that conversation. So not just how it can help you as an author, it's more than that. Let's call this validation for the value of the book blueprint. And please trust that this isn't meant to come off like an ego trip or anything like that. It's more of a plea. It's my plea to you, to all of you who are first-time or about to become first-time authors. And that plea is this. Even if you don't use a book blueprint, because my invention is one of many ways to develop and plan a book, even if it's not my thing, please use something. Please put thought into, to the best of your ability, understanding that your answers might change. Put thought into what you want your book to be about, who you're writing to, what your promise is to them from reading your book, and what your basic writing plan is for the flow of each chapter. Please put some thought into the foundation of your book, and here's why. In addition to making your process of writing your book that much easier and less painful, here's the other big thing. Having a clear vision and structure from day one will make your reader's process of reading your book all that much better. And before that, an organized, well-thought-out book requires less drastic editing, so it'll make your editors all that more happier as well. And I speak from experience, the experience of reading manuscripts, where quite often, with completed manuscripts where I really wasn't involved, it's quite obvious to me, manuscript to manuscript, how much thought and organization was put into the book from day one. In other words, I can tell which ones had a book development phase and which authors, quite frankly, wrote out a table of contents and started writing and hoped for the best. And I will tell you, once a book is written and it is disorganized and it's not clear what it's about and the structure's all over the place, once a book is written, it is that much more difficult to disassemble it, sort out a vision and architecture after the fact, and then, like Humpty Dumpty, put it all back together again. Just like if you're building a house without a book blueprint. Just like if you're building a house without a blueprint and it comes out all wonky and like the, bathroom sticking out the chimney or something like that, and it's totally a dysfunctional house. Now you have to take each nail out of each board in the entire house, take the whole house apart and build it again. Why not take some extra time and do a blueprint or some form of book development before you start writing? Save yourself, your editor, and your readers a whole lot of time later on. And that is my plea to all of you future authors today. Please figure out where you're going before you set off on the cross-country road trip. And I think I'm going to stop there before I break out yet another metaphor or analogy to make my point today. Oh, and by the way, I'm trying to help you out here. I'm going to drop a link in the show notes for my book blueprint guide so you can have an idea more of what I'm talking about. It even actually walks you through how to create your own book blueprint for your book. So I'm going to drop that in the show notes. And here's the super important part, and I'll put this in the show notes as well. You have to use the coupon code at checkout, INKFRIENDS, 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 and that's what makes it free just for all of you. So I hope this helps. And as always, please feel free to connect with me in my Ink Authors group if you have any other questions on why it's so important to have an organization and a structure for your book before you start writing it. Ink Authors on Facebook, and of course that link will be in the show notes as well. Thank you for joining me here on Your Daily Writing Habit, where I am helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. Until tomorrow, happy writing.